It's The Dark Knight. Does it really need an introduction? This movie's been out for 8 years. Everyone's praised it to no end. The only thing I can really do is voice my own opinion. But if you're the one person out there that hasn't seen The Dark Knight at all, you know who you are. Yeah, you. A couple of years have gone by since the Batman has helped the Gotham PD to clean up the streets. Criminals are running scared, and the mob is afraid to go out at night. So the mob, in their point of desperation, turns to a man they don't fully understand. And that is the Joker, played by the late Heath Ledger. However, the Joker has some plans of his own when he just wants to inflict chaos all over Gotham and try to prove that Gotham is unstable and that Batman is kind of the reason everyone's getting crazy. But it's up to Batman, played once again by Christian Bale, to use his best detective skills to find the Joker and put a stop to his chaotic rampage without breaking his no-kill rule. So, as everyone knows, this movie is so much better than Batman Begins from a filmmaking perspective, because for me personally, after having rewatched the trilogy, I think The Dark Knight is equally as enjoyable as Batman Begins. But this is such a more well-made film. The writing is better, the actors do a much better job, the story is very well done, and the way it's filmed is also more competent. Particularly the hand-to-hand action scenes, because if you saw my review for Batman Begins, or hell, if you've seen Batman Begins, you know that the action is poorly filmed and the editing is sloppy. So here, the editing is much smoother, and it's filmed in a way where you can actually tell what's going on. But the best action scenes of this movie are still the ones when Batman uses his gadgets, like the new Bat-Pod, which I think is a much better Batmobile equivalent than the stupid Tumbler, which takes place in an awesome chase throughout Gotham, and the big finale on the side of the building, where Batman has to use his gadgets and intellect to not kill anyone and stop the Joker right there. That scene is very intense, and you will be on the edge of your seat biting your nails nonstop. The cinematography, once again, looks really good. The movie does look more realistic than Batman Begins did, because, as I said, Batman Begins had a very comic book look that was blended into the real world. This is very much the real world. There's nothing really comic booky about it, and it works. And this was actually the very first mainstream film to be filmed with IMAX cameras. So a couple of sequences, including that car chase in Gotham and the finale on the building with the fairies, were filmed with IMAX cameras. Meaning if you saw this movie in a true 8-story IMAX screen, those sequences would fill the whole screen. I unfortunately didn't see it in IMAX because I wasn't that into the technical aspect of film until much later. And IMAX has always been a format that I've been behind more than 3D, because 3D, most of the time it doesn't add anything. IMAX makes everything more immersive, and I'm so happy that other movies have started using this format, like Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, The Dark Knight Rises, Star Trek Into Darkness, The Hunger Games Catching Fire, Interstellar, most recently Star Wars The Force Awakens, and soon Batman v Superman and Captain America Civil War will be using IMAX cameras. So I'm glad that other filmmakers are starting to see IMAX as an advantage, giving people a reason to see the movie in IMAX. The actors are much better this time around, particularly who plays Rachel this time. Maggie Gyllenhaal replaces Katie Holmes, who I think left because of scheduling conflicts. I don't think she was fired because of Batman Begins, that's just kind of ludicrous. But Maggie Gyllenhaal is a lot more charismatic and a little more believable in the role of Rachel. Because unlike Katie Holmes, she doesn't look 16. She looks like an adult woman. So she does a really great job in it. The returning actors are obviously great. Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Morgan Freeman, who I didn't mention in the last review, who plays Lucius Fox. He's great in the movie as the guy who provides Bruce Wayne's tech. And Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne, again, shows us that this is probably the most complex of the live-action Bruce Waynes we've had. This movie really pushes his character to the edge, where the Joker is just making everyone lose their mind, and Batman could easily snap at any moment just because he has to stop him no matter what. But because he doesn't, that's a testament to how strong-willed Bruce Wayne actually is. That despite taking the easy way, like he could easily kill the Joker and boom, day saved, he chooses not to, which sometimes can be a little frustrating to watch, but you can kind of get behind the idea why he won't do it. In terms of your new cast members, we have Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent slash Two-Face, who is really, really good in this movie. He starts off as the district attorney Harvey Dent, so he's kind of like Batman in a way, except probably a little more acceptable to the public eye. But unlike Batman, he slowly descends into madness and ultimately becomes the villain Two-Face, which I don't think people were really expecting when this movie first came out. I think we were just anticipating to see Harvey Dent, no Two-Face. But it works. The way they work Two-Face into this movie is really well done, and it does not feel forced in any way. And the effect of Two-Face is haunting. Basically, literally, one side of his face is burnt off, and when you first see it, you're like, oh god, that's something out of a horror movie right there. And one little moment that really gets to me is there's a point when Two-Face is having a drink, and the liquid leaks between his muscle and chin bone and just drips down. I'm like, oh, that's very unsanitary. But again, it's very effective and makes for a really good villain. But the villain everyone talks about in this movie, the only thing people ever talk about in this movie, most of the time, is the Joker, played by Heath Ledger. Is there anything I can say that hasn't been said about this performance? It's a monumental performance. There's a reason why it got the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor that year. There's a reason why people would say it's better than the Jack Nicholson Joker, even though I think they're two completely different interpretations of the Joker and really can't be compared. It's just a new take on the Joker that's really scary and effective. Although I have wondered as the years have gone by, if Ledger had not passed away, would this performance have had the same effect? I mean, because when I watched the movie, like, his performance would have been the same, but the feeling I get when watching the Joker, there's a little more of an ominous, cringeworthy feeling to it. Just the fact that knowing that this actor who played the Joker is dead, and the fact that when you see the Joker, you don't think of Heath Ledger. You don't think about stuff like A Knight's Tale or Brokeback Mountain or 10 Things I Hate About You. You see the Joker right there. There is no actor there. That is the Joker, flesh and blood. And the fact that you know you were never going to see this character again makes it even more creepier, at least for me. Now, this movie's arguably a masterpiece, no question about it. Everything about it is truly remarkable, but it has problems. I know some people get really antsy when you criticize The Dark Knight, but we've had 8 years to really look at this movie and analyze it, so here are my problems with the movie, and most of them are nitpicks. Let's get back to the hand-to-hand fight sequences. The one downside of having the fight sequences be filmed in a better way so you can tell what's going on is that you can really see how lame the fight choreography is. It's just very slow paced, it's not exciting at all, and some of the henchmen don't even bother to step in and just crowd the guy. It's just lame. Maybe because I'm spoiled by the Arkham games, but I just want to see better fight choreography in a Batman movie. Please, Zack Snyder, make that happen. But that is a nitpick because most of the action scenes revolve around, as I said, the gadgets and all of Batman's tools, which those are fun to watch. So that's a small nitpick for this movie. One problem I have with this movie is that the side characters kind of sucked. Not the main cast, like Christian Bale, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Heath Ledger, Aaron Eckhart, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Morgan Freeman. But I mean characters like some of the mobsters, like Michael J. White is in this movie for a short role, and he's fun. But Eric Roberts, I thought was just absolutely terrible in this movie. I've never seen Eric Roberts be good at anything, but here it really literally looks like he's sleepwalking through the whole movie and just doesn't have a care in the world. It's like, yeah, I'm in a Batman movie, whatever. But that is, again, a nitpick because the movie's really not about him. And then there's other things like the dialogue is still expository and states the obvious. Batman's voice is more growly and unintentionally comedic this time around, which everyone's talked about that voice, so I'll just leave it at that. Another problem that I originally had but kind of dropped was I thought the Joker, for just saying he just does things without planning, he really seems to plan everything out ahead of time. I mean, he had planned to blow up the fairies anyway, regardless of whether they were going to blow themselves up or not. He had planned his escape from prison, like he really planned it out. But then again, I thought back to his You Want to Know How I Got These Scars stories, and he bullshits those stories every time he tells them. So I'm thinking, maybe this guy is so crazy that he just bullshits about him not having a plan for anything when it's like, yeah, you have a plan. So maybe that's just part of his character. And having thought about that, maybe some people think of it as a problem, maybe some people don't, but what I once thought was a problem is not anymore. However, something that I just cannot get across, this is not a nitpick for me, this is a legit criticism, is the ending. The finale is awesome, but the actual ending when Batman decides to take the fall for Harvey Dent and say, I killed those people. See, I can't do the Batman impression. I tried, though. When he says, I killed those people, it's just like, that seems a little too moral for Batman. Like, I don't care if you're Batman or not and trying to do the good thing. Nobody would take the fall for somebody who lost their mind and killed 5 people, including 2 cops. So it's just really stupid, and it gets even more stupid once you think of what happens in the next movie, but we'll get to that soon. A lot of people who love this movie more than I do actually do have a problem with the ending also, so it's good to know that I'm not alone. But the ending does not ruin what The Dark Knight is, which is a monumental movie. It is a masterpiece in every way, one of the best movies of the last decade. Is it my favorite superhero movie out there? Personally, no. I like movies like The Incredibles, Iron Man, Captain America the Winter Soldier, and The Avengers better. But out of those movies, The Dark Knight will be the one that people will look at as the definitive superhero movie. The Avengers will be looked at as the Star Wars of superhero movies, I feel like. The Dark Knight will be the Citizen Kane of superhero movies. And that movie that some film classes will show, that just goes to show how iconic it is. So just get off your ass and go see it again. I say again and not if you haven't seen it, because you've all seen it. So yeah, The Dark Knight, yeah. And that's my review for The Dark Knight. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'm curious to know what you think about The Dark Knight because you've all seen it. Like, comment, subscribe, share me with your friends. Go check out my official website. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, Periscope, and Riff.tv. And don't forget, the Indiegogo campaign for A Faithful Companion is still ongoing. Go there, donate if you can, share with your friends. They need your help in funding the movie. And this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one.